Yeah, thanks for coming along. I think it's really great that we're able to do these things again. So Pauline ran a seminar last November, which was nice to kick off, November 30 from memory. And yeah, so it's been nice to kick off a bit more of these in-person activities. And we've got some new faces who we get to see a little bit from today, and a couple more online who you might be able to hear a bit more from, yeah, maybe later in the year or next year. So I guess I wanted to start by acknowledging that we're meeting on, Tasmanian Aboriginal land, and that's a really important thing for us all to remember. So this means different things in different places. I think for me, it's been a real revelation moving to Tasmania and seeing different ways that Aboriginal people engage with land. So in cities, this is an interesting and complex relationship, and I think we've got a lot to learn about living, in landscapes to get, good health outcomes and also to get good biodiversity outcomes. So it's kind of, a crazy thing to say to an Aboriginal person that, because it's just, I think a natural part of the way that people live in the world, but that's not the way that our Western society lives in the world. So I think that we're on a big learning curve when it comes to these issues, and it's been great. There's an Tasmanian Aboriginal man, Rob Anders, who we're working with, and we might talk about a little bit more at the end if we get time to talk about some new upcoming projects. Anyway, it's great to see some familiar faces again, and yeah, lots of people in the room. So we're trying to mix these up a little bit. The one today, we're going to talk about our own research, so mostly the students' research. The last time was focused on outdoor healthcare. Next time, I'm not quite sure if we've got a plan yet, but we've got a few ideas kicking around. So we've got a variety of different things. Actually, we probably should do something with urban trees or land management again. We did one on local government managing biodiversity the year before last. So I'm sure there'll be lots of interesting topics that we talk about. So I've been padding a little bit to make sure everyone gets here and people connect online, but I'll just give you a really quick intro, I guess, into what we are. And I haven't got some nice graphics for the slides, something we're talking about. There's a little bit, now we're back into this sort of world of interacting again. We'll work on our branding and identity and yeah, some graphics and things like that. So it's all a bit plain at the moment. So our Healthy Landscapes research group came out of a grant that Emily led, I think, in 2019, 2018 maybe. With Penny and Pauline. And so this was to sort of create a new research group, and so that fund that's supported a couple of PhD students, which has been fantastic. We've actually just been announced that we're part of a big 7-year National Environmental Science Program grant. So I'll talk about that a bit more at the end if we get a chance. So I feel like we've, these ideas that we've had and, the little bits of work that we've been able to do, we'll be able to continue now for a while, which is great. And we've got some great PhD students who will introduce themselves and we'll hear from, and some masters and some Dean's Summer Research Scholarship undergraduate students that we've had this year. And there's a few of our new students online, and there'll be more people coming through and opportunities for different, different projects and different kinds of relationships and engagements. So we're really focused on these questions about managing sort of urban and regional landscapes for biodiversity and health. So not seeing those things in isolation, but trying to think about how these things work together. Sometimes they reinforce each other, sometimes they work against each other. In the research world, there's been a big focus on large cities. So we know lots about Berlin and Melbourne and New York and London, but we don't know too much about sort of smaller cities where most people in the world live. So that's kind of the big overarching questions for us. And we want to make this relevant and applied as well. So we want to work, with people who are making decisions in these landscapes to be able to make better decisions or be able to achieve outcomes that we want, or make sensible trade-offs when we're forced to make trade-offs about the different things that we want to do. I won't just read out big lists of things, but there's been a few big projects, I guess, or medium-sized projects with some work on campus community gardens, again funded by the University of Tasmania. This bigger NESP project. We've been working on a project with Botanic Gardens in Melbourne and Botanic Gardens Conservation International in London, looking at some urban street trees, looking at climate change and what that might mean. Claudia's got a Holsworth grant. I don't know if she's going to tell us a little bit more about that today, which is good. That's a really important grant for PhD students. So nice, that sets up her project as well. Yeah, and we've had this REP grant funding and a grant on urban trees with some people at Uni Melb that is winding up this year. And so rather than sort of reading out, again, big lists of papers, we want to focus on the, what these things do. So we want to be able to influence policy and practice in Tasmania and beyond. So we want to, we're working out how to work with partners to, to understand their needs, but also influence the kinds of things that they do in ways that they want. So working with them to identify, what can we do to help improve decision making or influence decision making in the world. So as well as influencing the world, we want to develop partnerships. So not just a transactional, here's a project that we're working on, see you later at the end of it. We want to be able to have these ongoing partnerships and work across multiple projects with all of the people that we're working with. Obviously, one of our KPIs will be influencing global knowledge. So we want to, do good science that gets recognised as that through peer review. So we want to, justify the impact that we're having through doing good science and public engagement. And I'm probably not the right person to speak about that, but some of us are, and you'll hear from some of them today. And yeah, again, the list of people we're working with, and this is all, there's a bit of a spanner in the works last year, obviously, and we had a bit of a hiatus, but we've picked that up again, and hopefully we can continue. Some of you will see your names up there, and there's different ways. So again, these ideas of partnerships, not just a one-off transaction, but we want to see people's names up there in multiple contexts and across multiple projects, and hopefully doing multiple good things. So we'll probably circulate something at the end of it. We're just looking at the things that we've got coming up. So Gabby's involved in a light pollution citizen science project that she'll talk about a little bit more. There's a thing called the Nature of Cities Festival, which is a global festival that's running in a few weeks, and we're going to run a little workshop on the nature in small cities. And so hopefully that'll be like an open discussion. We'll send out an invite, you can come along and participate in a discussion about that. So which will be hopefully, again, a lot of people from here, but also people from, potentially across Australia and all around the world. Will be an online virtual thing that should be a bit of fun. Yeah, we might do some music. I'm not sure how much to promise along that. The last one of those was held in Paris, and I recorded some music based on tree information. That was kind of fun. Actually, if we run out of time, maybe I'll play my tree music or something at the end of this. And yeah, the NESP2 project that I'll talk about a little bit more. That'll probably, for those of you who haven't heard from me and are waiting, that'll probably kick off more in April, but we're still kind of working out how all that's going to unfold at the moment. All right, so that's a very brief intro from me. If we get time at the end, I'll tell you a bit more about the NESP2 projects.